So today I want to talk about how do you play a werewolf in Dungeons & Dragons? Or in other words, how do you play a lycanthrope in D&D? So I'm going to talk about a few subclasses that you can play and a racial option for replicating that werewolf or that lycanthrope that you want to play in your next Dungeons & Dragons game. So let's get going. I'm Johnny, by the way. This is JohnnyGMs, and I want to give you some tips and tricks, guides on how to play, and most of all, some spicy ideas to add to your games. So let's get going. So there are mechanics in D&D available for playing a lycanthrope. They're on page 207 of the Monster Manual, and they're in a small paragraph. They don't even fill up half of the page, but they give you mechanics on how to play them, what they give you, resistances, speed increase, natural weapons, AC increases, armor class if no one knows what that is, and also what type of sub-races are available for were-touch creatures like werebears, were-rats, werewolves, of course, were-boars, etc, etc. It also gives you the option to calculate your curse as well. So when you bite a creature, or maybe in some cases you slash a creature, they have to make a saving throw equal to 8 plus your proficiency bonus plus your constitution modifier, which then calculates the curse modifier. And if someone fails their saving throw against the curse, they become inflicted with it and succumb to the curse and become a werewolf or whatever were-touch creature that you tend to be, or in some instances, they will overcome it. These mechanics give you very static and they don't really progress very well with your character. Feels very much like an afterthought on the designer's perspective. I think that it wasn't intended, but they added it there to give a player that option if they wanted to play kind of a were-touch creature, a lycanthrope, and so there it is. But they're not fantastic, and I think there are better options for you to play if you wish to play a lycanthrope. But there's less baggage, and it's kind of there, and it's just easier to grasp if you want to play it. So the first thing I want to talk about is the race called the Shifters. They're like shapeshifters. And they're from the Eberron series. I swear I'm going to do a video on that at some point. I swear it's coming at some point. But right now we're going to talk about the Eberron race, the Shifter. They themselves are named were-touched in some instances, and it is in their bloodline. In some other instances, you have spirits that are bound to them, that are bestial in nature, and they transform them into something else entirely. That's a way for you to play a kind of more werewolf creature, and they do have a werewolf origin in Eberron. It's very left vague, so you can sort of make it up as you go. Shifters, in a way, are divided between civilization and the natural world, and you can kind of guess why. Their more animalistic attitude to the world, their fact that they transform and shapeshift, and the fact that they're more monstrous than anything could sort of push them away from civilization into that more natural world. And so that could be an interesting way to play them. As a bonus action, you can transform into your shifted form for 1 minute. It's great during a combat session, or sometimes outside of it as well. And in this instance, you gain temporary hit points, and there are 4 sub-races that give you different abilities. For instance, the Beast Hide gives you an additional +1 to your armor class, and it also gives you an additional set of temporary hit points on top of the ones that you already get. You got your Longtooth, which is representative of the Lupine, which is the werewolf, and this gives you fangs to which you can bite, and you can use this as a bonus action, which is really cool. There's also the Swift Stride and the Wild Hunt, which give you other mechanics as well. You also gain skills like intimidation or athletics or acrobatics, or survival as just kind of inherent to what they are, which is fun. So if you wanted to play something like, you wanted to play a fighter, but you wanted to have some sort of werewolf connection, a shifter would be the best suit for you. So we've gone over the race. Now we're going to talk about subclasses. And we're first going to start off with Tosh's Cauldron of Everything with the Path of the Beast Barbarian. At 3rd level, you can choose this and become a more bestial aspect of what a barbarian can be. Your bloodline could come from lycanthropic means. Maybe a bestial spirit has bound themselves to you, very similar to the Shifter in fact, but this is kind of more flavor text for you to make your character. The Beast Barbarian allows you to grow mandibles or a toothy maw. It gives you claws or a barbed tail. You can only pick one of these at one time, but you can flavor it to be lycanthropic. There's other options where when you bite into an enemy, you deal psychic damage to them, and they become almost in this fury, in this rage, and they attack other enemies of your choice, which is really fun. There's other options where they can climb on walls, on ceilings, like a spider, or like some sort of creature that can do or replicate that same mechanic. There are other things where their jumping speed increases, kind of like a were-tiger. Or in another instance, they can swim or breathe underwater, maybe like a were-shark, which would be kind of fun. And finally, one of their last abilities for 14th level is like a pack tactics thing, where everyone gets bonus health and they can deal more damage when they're with you. And so when you rage, you transform into this bestial aspect of something. And that could be lycanthropic in nature. And that would be really fun if you wanted to roll up that type of character. In fact, I kind of want to play one now, and I was never a big barbarian fan, but reading the Path of the Beast barbarian has kind of sold me on them. I kind of want to play one now because they sound so cool. Let's talk about something that's less official, but at the same time, it's the closest to official that we're going to get, which is the Blood Hunter Order of the Lycan subclass. This is a Critical Role subclass built by Matt Mercer. So the Order of the Lycan allows you to transform into a werewolf. It gives you the natural weapons of a werewolf. It allows you to increase your AC and your damage. There's also a mechanic that forces you into a bloodlust, so that you can't control yourself and you have to attack anyone that's around you. So your allies are also susceptible to this, which can be kind of scary. This is probably the closest to feeling like playing a werewolf. Legitimately playing like a werewolf, which is really, really cool. Blood Hunters are very complicated for new players, so I'd warn you about that. But if you want to play a werewolf, it is probably one of your best choices. So I hope you enjoyed the video. Thanks for watching. If you could give me a like, I'd really appreciate it. And if you comment down below what I could do to improve, or just to share your own stories, that would be fantastic. I'd really like to hear them.